From Yankee Stadium in New York, ESPN's Baseball Tonight presents the Boston Red Sox and New York Yankees. Dana Kicker tries to end a personal 3-game losing streak for the Red Sox. Chuck Carey is also slumping. He's just 2-8 in his last 10 starts. Hello once again, everyone, and welcome to ESPN's Baseball Tonight. I'm John Saunders. The Red Sox in the battle in the race in the American League East are a game back right now. They've lost 6 of their last 7, and things really started to fall apart when Rocket Roger Clemens struggled with tendinitis. They're 5-10 since he injured his shoulder. They were 6.5 games in front. They're now a full game behind the Toronto Blue Jays going into the weekend. Meantime, this game will have significance for the New York Yankees. They're at 60-90, the worst record in the American League. The Atlanta Braves at 60-90, also worst record in the National League. 12 games to play to see who will finish with the worst record in all of baseball. Meantime, New York's other team, the New York Mets, struggling in Chicago. They love to hate the Mets there in the 8th. Game tied 3-3. Ryne Sandberg flying to center. Keith Miller, watch this throw. He practically rolls it to the plate. 3 hops. Walton scores easily 4-3 in the 9th with 2 gone. Darryl Strawberry strikes out. Ossenmacher gets him there. Chicago starter Steve Wilson, 7 innings, allowing 3 hits, 2 runs. Andre Dawson, 2 for 3, including his 24th home run. And the Mets have lost 5 in a row. Second half of our doubleheader will be from the National League West. Cincinnati at San Diego. Jose Rio against Steve Avery. The Reds have lost 3 straight, and their lead is now just 3.5 games. San Diego has won 5 of their last 6. It's the Red Sox and the Yankees up next from Yankee Stadium. We'll be here all night long with scores and highlights on ESPN's Baseball Tonight. We'll get to Yankee Stadium for the Yankees and the Red Sox in just a moment, but we want to go further in updating the race in the National League East. The New York Mets playing this afternoon in Chicago. The Cubs had lost 2 straight to the Pittsburgh Pirates to put the Pirates back on top. Their lead had been just a half game, but it pushed it to 2.5 to start the day, and that's how they feel about the Mets. Mark Grace facing David Cone. This one is gone, his 9th of the year, to tie the game at 2. This in the 4th inning. Next batter, Andre Dawson. The Hawk goes to left field in the bleachers. His 24th of the year. 3-2 Cubs. First back-to-back home runs for the Cubs this year. But in the 8th, Howard Johnson homers to left center field. His 22nd of the year. Paul Ossenmacher giving it up, and the game is tied at 3. Bottom of the 8th. Jerome Walton steals second. Charlie O'Brien's throw heads out into center field. Walton beats the throw into third, so he's in scoring position. Can come in with a sacrifice fly. Ryne Sandberg at the plate, lifts this one to center. Keith Miller's throw. This one rolls to the plate. 1, 2, 3 hops. No chance to get him. 4-3. Then in the 9th, Darryl Strawberry. Strike 1. Strike 2. Strike 3. Swinging. The game is over. The Mets lose for the 5th consecutive time. Chicago starter Steve Wilson pitched 7 innings, allowing 3 hits, 2 runs. Andre Dawson 2 for 3, including that 24th home run. Also had 2 runs batted in, stole his 15th base as well. But right now it's the Red Sox and the Yankees. The Red Sox, losers of 6 of their last 7. Let's join Steve Zabriskie and Jim Palmer at Yankee Stadium.
Thank you, John, and welcome to Yankee Stadium, where tonight the Red Sox will try to get it going as they have lost 2 in a row in 8 of their last 10, and they start a weekend series against the last place New York Yankees. Tonight, Jim, the Yankees with their youth movement and the Red Sox trying to right their ship. Here they are with their traditional September slide, and they're not playing well, and really they know it better than anybody else.
They certainly do. So does Joe Morgan, the manager of the Red Sox. Had a meeting, closed door before the ball game, said, hey, stop looking at the papers. Let's just go back and play basic baseball. They won 10 in a row about 2 weeks ago. They were up 6.5 games since Roger Clemens has been disabled in a way. He will pitch Sunday. They are 5-10. They now trail the Toronto Blue Jays. And as you said, they have to get back to basics. A lot of 3-run home runs. Heard them in Baltimore where they lost 2 out of 3. And I'll tell you how bad they're going. The Orioles had not won a series against an Eastern Division ball club in 13 series. They won 2 out of 3 against the Red Sox.
And the Sox have lost 12 of 17, 8 of 10, as I said. We apologize, incidentally, for the audio technical difficulties that we're experiencing. Tony Pena, Jim, had a tirade in the clubhouse that had both positive and negative effects. Obviously, he meant it as a positive course of action because he's that kind of guy.
Well, Tony closed. The Red Sox closed the locker room for 10 minutes. What happened was he came in, didn't say anything when the writers came in. After they opened the doors, he threw a chair, said the ball clubs were quitters. They hadn't quit on the season, but they had quit in recent games. And Mike Greenwell took exception to that. In fact, the whole ball club, they demanded and apologized. He has said that. He said, if I used the wrong choice of word, I apologize. I don't think it helped anybody.
Well, let's check out the Sears diehard starting lineup for the Boston Red Sox this evening. They're going with the lineup they have been going with mostly of late. Jody Reed leads off, and he will play second base. Carlos Quintana will be at first base. Wade Boggs, of course, from the left side, batting third, playing third. Center fielder Ellis Burks bats fourth. Mike Greenwell in left field batting fifth. Designated hitter Dewey Evans batting sixth. Tom Bernansky in right field batting seventh. And the catcher Tony Pena hitting eighth. Shortstop Luis Rivera will hit ninth.
Chuck Carey on the mound. You can see the one-loss record. He has pitched much better than that record. 3-1 here at Yankee Stadium. Got a lot of bad outings early in the ball games.
And Jody Reed leads off and takes a strike. Reed hitting .296 with 5 homers and 50 RBIs.
Chuck last year acquired as a 6-year minor leaguer. 4-4, had a marvelous 89 for the Yankees.
That's out of play. Strike 2.
This year a little bit different. 30 years of age. Went to the University of Berkeley up in California, Northern California. Fastball, slider, screwball has really not gotten his act together this year. Hasn't used his screwball in some people's estimation as much as he should. Now again, when you have that fastball and slider and they're almost the same speed, Steve, you've been around baseball, you know you have to have that off-speed pitch, especially if you don't have good control of that fastball and the slider.
And especially if you don't have the real overpowering fastball that can blow people away. Strike 3. Home plate umpire Al Clark says Reed went too far. One away in the first.
When you think about sliders in the Bronx, you think of Ron Guidry, that terrific 78 year, 25-3. Also think of Sparky Lyle, who won the Cy Young Award back in 1977. Hard slider, hitter thinks it's the fastball, commits himself. You got a very tough strikeout man right there, Jody Reed, a contact hitter leading the American League along with Wade Boggs in doubles with 43. Don't see that very often.
No, and Reed has been going well of late and has hit the Yankees well throughout his career. Here's Carlos Quintana, and he has a check swing strike. Quintana hitting .293 with 7 homers and 65 RBIs.
He's missed 5 straight ball games, sore right shoulder. Boy, has he been a pleasant surprise for the Red Sox, both defensively and offensively.
He missed the high fastball, and it's 0-2, and so far, Chuck Carey has very quickly gotten ahead of the first 2 hitters.
Well, you made a good point. If he's not overpowering, it's a pretty overpowering fastball right there. Quintana over the year has impressed me as being a better low ball hitter for power. What I like about him, he hits the ball to right field.
That's too low, 1 and 2.
And in the context of the way the Red Sox have been struggling, you need a guy that can advance runners. Hit behind the runner. They are second from the bottom in home runs, only ahead of Kansas City with 94 home runs on the year. So this is not a power type of ball club.
Wade
Boggs leading the league with 180 hits in his pursuit of another 200-hit season on deck. Quintana, when you look at him, is not your quintessential number 2 hitter. He hits right-handed. He's a big guy, not necessarily a contact hitter, but the fact that he does hit the ball the other way, can make contact, means that he has had success hitting second, but he's out of there. The first 2 go down on strikes as Chuck Carey looks tough.
Well, they always say Yankee Stadium is such a great park for lefties because of all the room. But if you're Ron Guidry or if you're, Tommy John, you're a different type of pitcher, you want to make them swing the bat. Ample room. If there is a short porch, it's not as short as it used to be when it was 296 down the right field line, higher walls, when they remodeled Yankee Stadium back in 75 and 76.
Boggs takes high and tight. Wade hitting .310. 5 homers and 61 RBIs. He needs 20 hits between now and the end of the season to get to 200. Foul and out of play down the left field line, and it's 1-1. And Boggs has been turning it up notch by notch in his effort to do that. Over the last 89 games, he's hit .330. And over the last 11, he's hit .357.
Which is 5 points higher than his lifetime batting average, .352. I mean, that's tough to do in Little League. I think the one thing we will see over the course of the last 10 days, when you've had 200 hits or more 7 straight years, and you walk a lot, you may not walk quite as much when you're trying to get 200. Normally, he's right around 195 at this time of the year.
He won't get a hit here as it's grounded to Sachs, who throws over to Mattingly. And the inning is over. The Red Sox go in order in the first as Chuck Carey looks pretty darn good. Last place, but people are still buying Yankee souvenirs here at the stadium. And as we go to the bottom of the first inning, take a look at the Sears diehard starting lineup for the Yanks tonight. Roberto Kelly, the center fielder, will lead it off. Steve Sachs at second base, batting second. Don Mattingly in the field at first base for the first time in a long time, bats third. Kevin Moss just having a great rookie year, DHing. Jesse Barfield with that great arm in right field. Hensley Mullins will be at left field. Jim Lyritz is doing the catching. Randy Velarde at third base. And Alvaro Espinoza hits ninth at shortstop.
Boston Red Sox defense. Bernansky, outstanding right fielder. He'll be in right field. Ellis Burks will go get him in center. Mike Greenwell, better known for his bat. Boggs, Luis Rivera, who'll be the shortstop. Jody Reed, former shortstop, playing second. Former outfielder Carlos Quintana at first base. Tony Pena, he can throw you out from his knees, will be behind the plate. Dana Kicker, Sleepy Hollow, Minnesota. His record 6-9, and he has pitched a lot better on the road. Chuck Carey better here at the Bronx. Kicker with a 4-4 record. And it's not good to be a Red Sox and not be comfortable pitching in Fenway Park. So he's got to like the fact that he is here at the Bronx tonight. And if you look at the Yankee lineup, the two guys that could really give him trouble with that short porch are Mattingly. He hadn't hit a home run in 221 at-bats. And Kevin Moss, and almost everybody knows about him, 19 home runs, a little over 200 at-bats. If he has his slider and a sinker going, he could be tough against the other 7 righties in the lineup.
Making his 23rd start of the year, his 30th appearance. And in 132 innings, Kicker has only given up 7 home runs.
Well, again, that's where the sinker comes into play. And if he is right, you won't see too many changeups. You'll just basically see the sinker. He'll try to induce you to swing at the ball below the knees and a hard slider. That's the pitch he needs to be effective tonight.
Roberto Kelly leading it off, and he misses the breaking ball for strike one. Kelly hitting .286 with 14 homers and 58 RBIs. Grounded foul outside third, and it's 0-2.
I had a chance to see the Red Sox play a couple of games in Baltimore, and it wasn't like they were panicking. They were trying to make plays that if you're playing well, you don't even think about making. So again, getting back to basics. Joe Morgan says, hey, it's very painful. I've watched every out, every inning, and we are playing awful, and that's why they're losing. And then, of course, the Toronto Blue Jays are playing well.
Base hit left field. Greenwell up with the ball as Kelly rounds first with a leadoff single.
Well, you walk Roberto Kelly, you have just about thrown a double or triple. 38 steals. Here's the slider he started him off with. Look where it is, right in the middle of the plate. You show a good hitter consecutive or in a sequence of 2 or 3 pitches, the same pitch, and make a bad pitch with it, he's going to hit it hard, and he did.
There's Carl. Stump Merrill. Nobody calls him Carl.
Traditional baseball man. Came out, had his uniform spotted with tobacco juice all over his face. I thought I was talking to Billy Hunter, former Oriole coach and manager down in Texas.
I don't know that I've ever seen Stump since he's been up here in the big leagues that he didn't have a chew in his cheek. Kelly, as you see, with 38 stolen bases. One more than Steve Sachs, who has 37, and Sachs takes a strike. Sachs hitting .255 with 3 homers and 37 RBIs.
And coming off a year where he had 205 base hits. Watch him in batting practice. The difference I notice, he is pulling the ball a lot more. He said he hit so many balls hard early in the year, and they play him around to right field, that maybe he's going to try a little bit different offensive tactics.
Kicker with some tactics of his own as he holds the ball and makes Kelly go back to first.
Well, if you're a number 2 hitter in this situation, you can pretty much look for a fastball. It's going to make Sachs a better hitter in the sense that he can look fastball and most likely will get it.
Kelly's going. The pitch is in the dirt, and Pena will not have a chance.
Another difference between the Yankees and the Red Sox is speed. The Red Sox have stole 46 bases, been thrown out 44 times. Kelly and Sachs, many more steals than the entire Red Sox team. No chance for Tony Pena on the breaking ball.
Kelly and Sachs together now have 76, almost twice as many.
Tony just really boxed it, knowing he had a hurry. Low breaking ball, takes a little bit longer to get to the plate.
A ball and a strike to Sachs, who now is bunting, but it's foul. So it's a ball and 2 strikes. The Yankees have made it pretty apparent that they're going to try to rebuild with youngsters. The problem with that has been that over the last few years, they haven't had a whole lot of talent in their minor league system. But they've got some good young players now with Maz, Mullins, Lyritz, all of whom are rookies in the lineup tonight. Check swing, 1 hopper. And Sachs is retired, unable to advance Kelly, who remains at second with 1 out.
Came back with that slider again. This time made a good pitch. Kelly stays at second.
And a good hand for Don Mattingly.
About the only guy that's not applauding is Dana Kicker.
Mattingly, the last time he was over 300 was back on May 21st. And of course, the lower back problems that have kept him out of the lineup have been well chronicled. This is the first game in a long time that he has been in the field. He grounds it to second. Jody Reed will go to Carlos Quintana. And Roberto Kelly moves to third, now with 2 away.
Yeah, talked to him about the back problems, and he said that, it's just something. I haven't used a lot of heat, but a lot of stretching, a lot of exercises. Hopes to be able to play regularly next year at first base. Some talk about moving him to the outfield, but you're talking about a Gold Glove winner. I think that would be a very detrimental move unless he can't play first base. It's kind of like Keith Hernandez.
And the other thing about it, too, is that he provides a lot of leadership in the infield.
Oh, yeah.
But one reason they're talking about it is Kevin Moss, who plays first base, also hits left-handed, and has hit 19 home runs, driven in 35. He's only hitting .240. He leads all American League rookies with those 19 home runs, however. Outside, ball 2.
Yeah, this is your first major decision if you're Dana Kicker. You got a man on third. You more or less have first base open. You got a guy like Jesse Barfield, a right-handed hitter on deck. You got a guy like Moss, who's hit 19 home runs and 221 at bat. You take a chance for the big inning, or do you go right after Moss?
2 balls and 1 strike, and he did not throw him a fastball. 2-0.
Well, that's not a good idea. I think the book on Kevin Moss is that
I don't think anybody's surprised.
No, you do. He is a real good fastball hitter. Out over the plate. Darrell Evans, the batting instructor, said that pitchers have kind of changed. They've been crowding him a little bit.
That pitch low and away, and he fouls it off the end of the bat, 2-2.
Well, this is not a ballpark, if you're a left-handed hitter, that the batting instructor or the manager says hit the ball to left field. Get a good toe hold, get up on the plate,
and jerk it.
That's right. Now there are guys, that are real good hitters here. I mean, Greg Nettles, of course, was a great pull hitter, but Reggie Jackson could hit the ball out the other way.
Well, before they remodeled, of course, it was about 1.5 miles in left center field where the monuments are.
My first year here, which was 65, it was 461 to center field, 457 to left center.
And you loved it.
I didn't pitch. I would have loved it.
See, now it's 399.
Oh, yeah. Ample room. Still ample room.
Still, yeah, that's almost 400 feet to the power alley. And he strikes out. So a leadoff single and a stolen base wasted as Roberto Kelly remains at third. First strikeout for Dana Kicker, no score after 1.
Oh, yeah, this is going 15.
Thank you, John. Right here, no score as we go to the second inning, and a cool evening in New York is evidenced by the coats and jackets that abound as fall has arrived in the Northeast anyway.
Yes.
But not officially.
Not officially.
We've already been through this once.
That's right. Either tomorrow or Sunday, depending on the way you look at it.
Yeah, or which side of the international date line you live
right.
on. Ellis Burks leading off the second, hitting .299, 19 homers and 84 RBIs. But he's only had 3 hits in his last 25 at bats. Fouls this one back, 1-1.
Well, that's the interesting thing about a pennant race. You get down to the final weeks, the final games, and what you've done all year is really, it's very satisfying as a player, but a lot of times you're judged, as was George Bell in '87 when the Blue Jays lost 7 in a row, on what you do the last week of the season.
What do you do when your team needs you the most? Right now, Chuck Carey, whose team really has nothing to gain except his, of course, personal gain to come from a good performance.
Well, he can be a strikeout pitcher. Well. We saw him strike out 2 out of the first 3 Red Sox. He struck out 109 in the first 133 innings.
Into right center field, Kelly over, makes the catch. 1 away. Here's a look at the umpiring crew tonight. A relatively veteran American League crew with Al Clark behind the plate. John Hirschbeck, who would be the youngest of the bunch, at first base. Larry McCoy at second base, and the crew chief Dave Phillips is at third tonight. Not first, as it says there. We don't have 2 first bases tonight. We have first, second, and third. Mike Greenwell hitting .288 has started to come on. .333 over his last 60 games after just a horrendous period of time, and a lot of it was due to the ankle injury, and you can see his left ankle is heavily taped.
Well, did get the cortisone shot. Of course, the back ankle, very important as a left-handed hitter.
Sliced and a base hit to left field.
I think that's the big difference, Steve. In years past, he has hit over 300 versus lefty. Coming into tonight's game, only 245. But he finally talked to Dr. Arthur Pappas and got the shot, and he has been a much better hitter. He played all last year with the bad left ankle, and what it did was it made him a front foot hitter. He lost a lot of his power. This is vintage Mike Greenwell. Slice it to left, drive it to right.
It's Charlie Moss right there, who worked on Greenwell and others, of course, but on Mike all year long. Dwight Evans, Dewey, the designated hitter tonight, takes high, ball 1, hitting .249, 13 homers, 57 RBIs, and over his last 12 games, although he missed a few games recently, he's doing his part. .357 in his last 12. Again, it's a fastball high, ball 2.
And when he's hitting well, he will make you throw the ball over the plate. Very selective hitter. 10 of those 13 home runs have either tied or put the Red Sox ahead. It seems like almost all his hits this year, battling back problems, have been clutch ones.
There's a strike.
Yeah, he wanted to duck that.
That was just not quite as high as the other 2 pitches, 2 and 1.
We told you about the umpires. Al Clark is, I would call, a pitcher's umpire. bigger strike zone than some of the umpires in the American League. Doesn't mean he's a bad one. He is a good, nice guy and a good umpire. A liberal strike zone.
And a throw to first, even though Greenwell was not very far off the bag. And Mike, with that ankle, hasn't run very often. He only has 8 stolen bases this year in 15 attempts.
Well, he did run from second to third with nobody out, down 8-4 in Baltimore. Ripken fielded the ground ball to shortstop. One of the cardinal base running sins, trying to advance from second to third on an infield out, especially to the left side. Threw him out, took him right out of a rally. And again, as you said, they know it. They know they are not playing good baseball, maybe trying too hard. It's been the basic complaint, trying to toot too much.
Another throw to first. Well, you know, in Boston there is this September slide theory, and the Red Sox fans have lived with it in agony so often, even though when they have gotten to the postseason play they've had problems, such as in '86. And I think that the players, you know, there's Joe Morgan, Richie Hebner, the hitting instructor, behind him, and Evans down on strikes. The players hear this all the time, and it may be a factor in playing too hard. Let's get an update from John Sun.
Montreal with a chance to pull within a game of second place. Dennis Martinez in the first. The breaking ball. John Kruk takes it to the opposite field. Vaughn Hayes comes in to score. Foley with an error, allowing a second run to score. It's now 2-0. They head to the second inning. Let's go back to Stephen Jim.
Thanks, John. Right here, Tom Brunansky with 2 out, and Greenwell still at first, hitting .261, 10 homers and 59 RBIs. But Bruno has had only 1 hit in his last 13 at bats. Ball 1. Brunansky has also been in and out of the lineup lately. High fly ball into left center field. Hensley Mullins, the rookie left fielder, and the inning is over. A hit and 1 left here in the second. We've played an inning and a half in Yankee Stadium. No score. No score as we go to the bottom of the second, and we were speaking of those monumental and memorable, in a certain negative way in Boston, collapses. 1974, they were up on August 20th by 5 games. They finished a game behind the Orioles, and then in '78, on July 19th, they had a 14-game lead, and of course the Bucky Dent home run that Boston fans will never forget at Fenway Park did them in.
Routine fly ball, very much like the one Brunansky hit.
That's
I'm
true.
sure people are saying if they were in Fenway, that would have been a 2-run home run. But we are in Yankee Stadium. Such balls are outs.
That's right. Even if they're 400 feet, a lot of times they're out. Jesse Barfield hitting .248, but he leads the Yankees in home runs and RBIs. He's hit 24 out and driven in 71. Way outside, 1-1.
A strikeout battle. Roberto Kelly, who led off with a base hit, he has 141. Jesse with 135. A lot of trade rumors about Jesse Barfield.
He does not go for the breaking ball, and it's 2-1. You saw that there's no score in Toronto in the third.
I don't really think they can afford to give up Jesse Barfield unless they get a lot for him. 16 assists, leads the American League.
Well, if they're going to go with a youth movement, they still got to have a nucleus around which they can build. They've got Mattingly, if they keep him, and with the contract he just signed, you got to think that they are going to. And Barfield would be another guy in that category of leadership, experience, and you can't go with all kids. It won't work.
The Orioles have found that out to some degree.
Popped up, and it may be playable. Luis Rivera in foul territory has enough room for out number 1.
Another slider had him reaching for it. You can do that here in Yankee Stadium. Get the right-handed hitters out on that front foot. Fishing for the breaking ball, you are going to be effective.
Dana Kicker has allowed just a leadoff single to Roberto Kelly in the first. He has retired the last 4 in a row. And here's Hensley Mullins, the rookie left fielder who was called up on September 9th. And he takes the ball high. At Columbus, Mullins was hitting .285. He had 26 home runs and 96 RBIs, 20 doubles and 5 triples as well. They like his bat.
Yeah, they like his power. Great power to right center field, straightaway power. Does not have to pull the ball, even in this ballpark, to hit home runs. They brought him up, I believe, last August. Steve, I saw him play third base. Bad mistake. Played 8 games, they moved him to the outfield.
Not his best position. 3-0 now to Mullins. Well, with a bat like his, if he keeps it up, they'll find a place for him to play somewhere. He drills one to center field, but Ellis Burks is there. That ball got out there in one quick hurry. And that's interesting to see a rookie, a little respect on the part of the Yankees, give him the green light 3-0. Why not when you're capable of hitting it out?
Exactly. And why ever? I mean, Tony La Russa's theory as manager of the Oakland A's is you never ever want the opposition to have the feeling they know what you're going to do, whether you're offensively or defensively from a pitching standpoint.
Here's another rookie, Jim Lyritz, doing the catching tonight. He has also played in the infield. .262 with 5 homers and 23 RBIs, and he takes a strike. This is a quote from a local New York paper. He'd rather spoil their chances than Toronto's. And I think, you know, there's a lot to be said in that, because there is such a tremendous rivalry between Boston and New York. Even though the Yankees are in last place, that rivalry still exists, and it's heightened by the fact that the Red Sox are fighting for the pennant. 2-2.
You know, there's so many ways you can look at this. The baseball experts, they figured that Boston wouldn't even be in the race. So one way of looking at it is they're playing over their heads, and they've done it all year long, and Toronto's finally playing the way they're supposed to.
Lyritz down on strikes. The Yankees go in order in the second. 2 strikeouts for Dana Kicker. No score. The year 2000. Minnie's already looking ahead, getting that AB in the year 2000. We were in Chicago recently and saw him taking batting practice with the White Sox. He was gearing up, but apparently he won't get his chance.
He'll let anybody take BP there. Michael Jordan. Next thing we'll know, you'll be hitting from both sides of the plate.
Swinging. I don't know about hitting. So there's a big difference.
Attempting to hit.
Tony Pena can both swing and hit. Hitting .260. He takes a strike. Pena, Rivera, and then the top of the order, Jody Reed here in the third for the Red Sox. No score. One and one.
Yeah, first screwball right there. Pena having a typical year for him offensively. As you look at the numbers, I think what he has really done is solidify the Red Sox pitching staff. I mean, Clemens never needed any help. He's 20-6. But Boddicker, Tom Bolton.
Looper to right field. It looked at first like Barfield didn't see it, but actually he didn't have to move a step. There's Roger right there.
He will pitch on Sunday, first time in about 2.5 weeks. They are 5-10 since he has departed, or really hasn't been able to pitch. What a marvelous year he is having.
And when you figure the fact that he only pitches once every 5 days, that 5-10 record, which is only 1/3 of the days involved, shows you what a psychological effect it may have had on the Red Sox, knowing that they didn't have Roger coming around every 5th day.
Well, this is what you said about reading the press clippings. Joe Morgan, a closed-door meeting, he said, stop reading the paper.
Luis Rivera hitting .228, takes a strike.
First base coach Al Bumbry said, I don't read the paper. I don't understand why the guys do. I said, Al, you're a veteran. Well, played with the Orioles. You've been around since 1973. You don't listen to that garbage.
Rivera can't hold up on the high fastball, and the appeal to first base umpire John Hirschbeck reconfirms the strike. It's 0-2.
Look at Chuck Carey. He is lucky to be pitching. He was steamrolled by Steve Balboni just last Sunday. 4th inning, going for a pop fly, hit by a runaway truck. Steve Balboni.
Well, it's a good thing that Chuck Carey is not a small man either, or he might not be pitching today.
Knocked unconscious. He departed the ball game. He has a lot of trouble in 5 starts. He's gone 6 1/3 innings. As you see, another strikeout. That is number 4. He's gone 6 1/3 innings and given up 19 runs. So if he can get into the ball game, he can be one tough left-hander.
There's Balboni.
There's the runaway truck. That's right.
Yeah, well, Balboni is about 6'3", about 255 pounds. Chuck Carey is about 6'4" and weighs about 215 pounds. So some Richter scale measuring device somewhere moved when that happened. Fouled back by Jody Reed for strike 1. Jody struck out swinging in the 1st inning. For his career against the Yankees, Jody Reed has batted .333.
Well, we saw him strike out the first time, but he can make contact.
Strike 2. And again, Carey is getting ahead.
Well, that's a good point, Steve, because when you do get ahead, you can throw that hard slider. You don't have to throw it for strikes. Most of the strikeouts have been out of the strike zone. Get ahead, make them swing at balls. Pretty simplistic way to pitch. It's a little bit too high.
1-2. 2 out and nobody on. No score. Top of the 3rd. Did he go after the slider? No. John Hirschbeck says this time he did not swing.
Well, there's the get ahead and make him swing at ball theory. Jody's saying, you weren't thinking about calling me out. Didn't even. Held up. Again, it's bat position. Not whether you break your wrist. Did the bat go across home plate?
2-2. Ripped foul. Still 2-2.
Jody Reed is about 5'9", 165. Yet he has hit 43 doubles. Says something about the Fenway Green Monster.
Yep. That's the other side of the coin at Fenway, because fly balls that would be caught in other parks are home runs, but fly balls that would be caught are also doubles. It's a great doubles ball, but Wade Boggs always gets a lot of doubles.
Well, I mean, if you go back, Lynn took advantage, Freddie Lynn, and then Mike Greenwell. Yaz, as great a hitter as Yaz was, Hall of Famer Carl Yastrzemski. He could drive the ball. In fact, I saw Boog Powell, the big boy, one night hit 3 home runs at a left field screen. And I think back at Boog Powell, you think, here's a guy that was a pull hitter. But he just put one right down the line, one to left center, and just missed the center field bleachers and put one in the net almost straight away center.
He adjusted on that evening. He might have had a little something in mind when he went up there. 3-2, and Reed with a drive and a base hit to right field. Barfield thought about it, but thought better of it and held up. Let's go to John Saunders.
Red Sox chasing the Blue Jays, and the Jays facing the Indians tonight. David Wells and Tom Brookins sends it to the gap in right center field. Off the wall, Junior Felix fields it. Brookins is going for 3. The throw comes in. Fernandez can't handle it, and Brookins has a triple. He would later score on a fielder's choice. 1-0 is now the score in the 3rd. Back to Stephen J.
So Toronto down by 1. Here the Red Sox and the Yankees scoreless in the 3rd. 2 out. Reed at first for Carlos Quintana, who looked at a called 3rd strike in the 1st. And Jody Reed, who has only 4 stolen bases all year in 6 attempts, chased back.
You know, the one thing that's compounded Boston's plight is that Toronto started to play well. I mean, they came from behind last weekend, won 3 ball games against the Orioles. 2 of them down by 3 in the 9th inning. Orioles with a lead going into the 9th were 49-1.
And the Toronto Blue Jays had won but 1 game in 60-some times, trailing going into the 9th. So then they did it 3 times in a week. One ball, no strikes. Just a little bit high, ball 2. Rack Slider, one of the great baseball names of all time, the third base coach for the Red Sox. And there's Al Bumbry.
Alonzo Bumbry.
He's the first base coach.
Well, what a great year he had in 1973. Rookie of the year. Hit .337. Stole over 30 bases.
Down low again. 3-0 now to Quintana. Chuck Carey has yet to walk a batter. It's the first time he's really even threatened to do so. Wade Boggs would be next if the inning stays alive. 3-0, and Quintana taking all the way. 3-1. Fly ball into right center field. Roberto Kelly was playing him toward right center, and the inning is over. 1 hit and 1 left in the 3rd for Boston. After 2.5, still no score. Only appropriate that we would look at the monument of George Herman Ruth, as many people feel that it is the curse of the Bambino that plagues the Boston Red Sox, as they have been unable to have any success on a continuing basis since they traded Babe Ruth to the Yankees those many years ago.
Wonder what Randy Velarde thinks of that.
I would guarantee you that Randy Velarde does not think of that, especially when he's hitting.
Said the only curse that I know of is that low and away slider.
Well, he's hitting .213, so maybe he might want to change his thinking. 3 homers and 14 RBIs.
Curse of the Bambino, a book written by Dan Shaughnessy, who writes for the Globe, used to be in Baltimore, for the Evening Sun. Great 70 years of horror and heartbreak for Red Sox fan, which all began when Babe Ruth was sold to the Yankees. They had only known.
I'll tell you.
Think he could have made the Red Sox ball clubs? I don't know.
A check swing foul. Well, the Red Sox aren't the worst as far as having won it all and waiting the longest to do it again. The Cubs hold that distinction, and the White Sox are second, so the city of Chicago has it all over Boston. But the Red Sox have not done it all since 1918. 3-2 now to Velarde, leading off the 3rd. Dana Kicker has allowed just 1 hit. And another check swing foul. Still a full count. Kicker has struck out 2 and walked none. He's retired 6 in a row since giving up the leadoff single to Roberto Kelly.
Dana 0-3, almost 9 runs is the earned run average his last 3 ball games. So suppose you want to get back on the right track. First of all, you like to get an outstanding pitching performance, especially with Boddicker, who's won 16 tomorrow, and then Clemens.
Grounded to 3rd. Wade Boggs with an easy play for out number 1. Well, just to illustrate that point about Dana Kicker and also Tom Bolton and Greg Harris, there's the story. I mean, after Clemens and Boddicker all season long, it hasn't been a whole lot for the Sox, and when they really need it, which is of late, and Toronto playing well, it hasn't been there.
course, even Bolton's record is 9-4. Greg Harris has had a career year with 13 wins to go with 8 losses. And a kicker 6-9. So that's been a bonus, especially when you consider John Dobson out with elbow surgery. Reardon had back surgery in his back, but not really throwing up to his capability. We made the Lee Smith trade. Smith going over to St. Louis, so they get Berdansky. They have had their pitching problems. So a lot of people, I would think, got to be amazed they are in the race at this point.
Well, you and I have done previous Sox games this year, and we have talked about it, how when you look at the two teams, Toronto and Boston, and you look at just the statistics, Toronto looks like, with the talent they have, they ought to be in first place. And it's a credit to the Red Sox and perhaps to Joe Morgan that they have been where they have been and are where they are at this point, even though they no longer lead. Right back to Dana Kicker. 2 away in the third.
A chance to talk to Tom Seaver. He said, your last team, the Red Sox. I mean, Tom being picked up by the Red Sox in 1986, even though he did try the aborted comeback with the Mets, a year later after knee surgery and so forth. But he said, you know, there's Tom. He said, the Red Sox really can't beat you in too many ways. Can't beat you with speed, very rarely beat you with a home run. Phil Rizzuto on his right, our left.
Roberto Kelly with a high fly ball to right field. Brunansky has it, and the inning is over. 9 in a row, retired by Dana Kicker. Welcome back to Yankee Stadium. Game 1 of our ESPN Baseball Tonight doubleheader. Steve Zabriskie and Jim Palmer with you. No score as we go to the 4th inning, and Wade Boggs leads it off for Boston. Ball 1. Boggs grounded the second, his first at bat, to end the first inning. He's trying to do it again, but he only has 12 games left, and he needs 20 hits to reach 200 for this season. A drive to left field. Hensley Mullins hauls it in, and Boggs is turned away again. 1 away. It would be the 8th straight year, but he's getting down to where he's got to have some 3 and 4 hit games.
Well, he certainly does, and of course, one of the major reasons he does not have closer to 200 hits, risk injury early in the year. Ken Griffey Jr. coming back into third base, finally also got a cortisone shot, very much like Mike Green will after trying to hit with it for a while. When you look into May and Wade Boggs is hitting 270, you know something is not up to snuff.
Ellis Burks flying out to the center field of Roberto Kelly in right center, opening the 2nd inning. Ball 1. And ball 2. Chuck Carey has pitched almost as well as Dana Kicker has. He's given up just 2 hits, a base hit to Greenwell in the 2nd inning and 1 to Jody Reed in the 3rd. Good fastball, 2-1.
See, the difference is, as you said, Carey can be overpowering if you're going to pitch up in the strike zone versus Dana Kicker, who is throwing that sinker. You get a little bit tired, hitters will jump all over the high pitches. So you better get the ball on the corner. I see a lot of balls in the middle of the plate. That's fine early in the ball game. 3rd time around, you better make some adjustments.
2-2 as Burks fouls it straight back.
That's why Rick Cerrone, who's been out most of the year with knee problems, says that the reason Carey was so successful last year in this situation, 2-2, he would show Burks a screwball. Make that fastball seem like it's about 10 miles per hour harder.
Foul back again.
But there is not a whole lot of deception.
No, he's just coming right after it. And that's the way he's done it since the 1st inning. He struck out the first 2 hitters he faced. And that didn't miss by much. 3-2.
Well, a lot of times umpires get fooled by the actions of the hitter. Rocky Colavito, the Rock, he used to jump back, he used to stand right on top of the plate, a little bit different than Ellis Burks. Never ever had the inside pitch called.
Fouled off. Still 3-2 with 1 out and nobody on. And there's Mike Greenwell on deck.
Well, this is just about what you can expect from Ellis Burks. Somewhere around 20 to 25 home runs. He's got 19. Somewhere around 300 if he stays healthy.
Ball 4. That's the first walk issued by Chuck Carey. And so Burks, with good speed, will be at first base with 1 out for Greenwell.
Talked about injuries a couple of years ago, an ankle injury, shoulder injury last year. We also talked about stolen bases, only 46 for the Red Sox. Burks, successful 9 times, has been thrown out 10. He can run, but obviously not picking his spots well.
Ground ball through the hole, base hit right field. Burks will have to hold at second as Barfield not only charged the ball, but of course has one of the top arms in baseball. But the Red Sox,
hired in 1989 by the Yankees, is for a young guy, or young as far as experience wise, to find out what he has to do to be successful.
Fouled off. 1-1.
How long can you stand out there and throw hard sliders and high fastball by hitters, whether you're in the American or National League? If you're going to be a starter, you better have a third pitch.
Well, that one caught a nasty piece of Jim Leyritz, the catcher. Too high again. 2-1. I think your point about second and third time through the lineup is very well taken. I mean, the big league hitters, especially veteran hitters such as Dewey Evans, can almost set a pitcher up.
Well, right here, 2-1. You know, if it's 0-2, he's got to just try to make contact. 2-1, he can look out over the plate. He may look inside or whatever, but he can look in a zone. And Evans, who, you know, before the back problems that have bothered him all year, was getting better with age. But he'll look for a pitch and make you be in that zone.
2-2 now, as Evans didn't get it. Ellis Burks at second, Mike Greenwell at first, 1 out. No score, top of the 4th.
In his last 3 years, 305, 293, and 285.
Line drive caught by Velarde. Good play by Velarde, who immediately looked to see if he could get a double play, but Burke scrambled back to second, 2 away.
Part of being successful as a pitcher or as a hitter is you need luck. Evans didn't have it as he hits this ball right on the nose, even though he reached for it. And Chuck Carey, very fortunate, it's right at former shortstop Randy Velarde. Good reflexes.
I mean, that's a 2-base hit, and maybe at least 1 run, maybe 2, depending on what happens in the corner. Tom Brunansky popping it up in foul territory. Mattingly has it, and the inning is over. The Red Sox are turned away in the 4th with a walk and a single and 2 left on base.
A runner going in the dirt. Hello, 30-50 club. Take that base home.
Barry Bonds with his 50th stolen base of the season to go with those 30 home runs. I'd say he's a minor reason why the Pirates are in first place.
Yeah, him and Bobby Bonilla.
Steve Sachs leading off the 4th inning for the Yankees. Still no score. And did Sachs go too far? No. John Hirschbeck says. So it's 1 ball, 1 strike. Sachs grounded back to Dana Kicker in the 1st inning. Sachs, Mattingly, and Moz here in the 4th. And a slider chased for strike 2, 1-2.
You're sitting at home, you wonder how a right-handed hitter can swing at a ball that ends up to be about 18 inches to 2 feet outside. You don't see the spin, and that's what the definition of a good breaking ball is. It looks like a fastball until you wave at it.
Grounded foul into the New York dugout, or the Boston dugout, I should say. So it's still a ball and 2 strikes. Big Dennis Lamp there. Fly ball to center. Burks was playing shallow, drifts back, and has it for out number 1.
Death Valley, that's what a lot of hitters used to call it here. You wonder if they'll bring the dimensions in, Steve. Last in runs scored in the American League, the New York Yankees. Pitching has gotten a little bit better this year. Their ERA down about being second in the American League last year to about 10th. There are those dimensions. It used to be, let's see, 301 down the left field line, 296 to right field, and a much shorter wall.
They made it a little more difficult in the alleys as Mattingly gets a base hit. Only the second hit for the Yankees, and it breaks a string of 10 in a row. Retired by Dana Kicker since Kelly led off the first inning with a base hit.
Well, has not been hitting with power. 223 at bats since he last hit a home run. The back troubles well documented. He went on the disabled list back on July 25th.
And since that time, this is his first game at first base, although he has been a DH. Kevin Maas holds up.
See on the Yankee uniforms, number 1, commemorate Billy Martin's death. And the Red Sox wearing the black armband. Tony Conigliaro passing away in February. One-time great Red Sox power hitter.
Tony C. Who knows what kind of career he might have had he not been beaned.
Yeah, Hank Bauer, my first manager. First batter I ever faced. Brought me in Fenway Park to face Tony Conigliaro with the bases loaded.
Nice guy.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Hank.
Stump Merrill cheering on his charges. 2 balls and no strikes to rookie Kevin Maas. And a strike on the outside corner, 2-1.
Talked earlier about the fact that Kevin Maas may be the first baseman. Mattingly moved to the outfield. Total right knee construction, or reconstruction, ligament problems. Played fairly decently at first base, but he is no Don Mattingly. A tough decision where to play him next year.
Line drive caught by the second baseman Jody Reed. Mattingly scampers back, 2 away. So that'll bring up Jesse Barfield, who popped out in foul territory behind the third base bag to the shortstop Luis Rivera. Over the last 15 games, Barfield's hit .348. Ball 1.
I think when you go back and reflect on Jesse's career, George Bell, Lloyd Mosby, Jesse Barfield, the outfield of the future in American League Baseball up in Toronto. The mistake he made was have too good a year. 40 home runs, hit .289. Rifle for a throwing arm.
The price became exorbitant.
Yep. Hurt his left wrist. Really hasn't been the same hitter. Now they have worked trying to really shorten his swing down. Darrell Evans said he used to wrap the bat behind his head, just too long a swing. Similar to Strawberries across town. Bo Jackson, who used to wrap it behind his head.
Good breaking ball there, 2-1.
You shorten the swing, what you try to do is just get it through the hitting zone a little bit quicker. Less susceptible to the good fastball. And when you don't have to hurry on the fastball, you can wait on the breaking ball. It makes sense. I think you made a good point, though, about a veteran player that is also a high character. That is Jesse Barfield.
Those are the kind of guys that you want to have, especially if you have a preponderance of young players as you try to rebuild, because they set not only the type of example on the field you want to have, but off the field in the clubhouse where it's maybe even needed more under those circumstances. Way outside, ball 4. Barfield walks with 2 out. There'll be runners at first and second for the Yankees. And a reminder, this is the first of 2 here on ESPN as usual on Friday night. Cincinnati at San Diego, as the Reds have seen their lead in the National League West dwindle down to a precious 3.5, I think it is now.
4 in the loss column.
And that'll be game 2 of our doubleheader tonight as Joe Morgan uncharacteristically sprints out of the Boston dugout.
Well, this may be a conference about how to pitch to Hensley Mullins. We saw him on a 3-0 pitch, line to center. Otherwise, I think Dana Kicker knows that he didn't want to walk Barfield to bring up Mullins, put a runner on scoring position, 2 on the bases, but sometimes that happens. Normally, scouting reports are done before the ball game. Pitcher and catcher will sit down. Early in the season, you do it as a team. Decide how you want to play the hitters, how you're going to pitch them. They go hand in hand.
Runners at first and second with 2 out. A little high, ball 1.
There's 26 home runs. The Columbus led all minor leaguers for the Yankees.
And that time it's a strike. I thought it was the same pitch.
Yes.
1-1.
Carbon copy. I think the other one, maybe, as an umpire will tell you, he went around the plate. A late breaking pitch.
Sharply hit to third, and a good play by Boggs, who gets the force to end the inning. A base hit and a walk. 2 left in the 4th. Still no score. Wade Boggs with the fine play to end the inning on a shot.
Well, you talked about balls getting by a third baseman and end up to be doubles. That could have been one. Matador style. He watches it all the way into his glove. Dana Kicker says, gee, I hang a slider third, consecutive 1 to Mullins. He smashed it, but Boggs got the force out at second. Saved a run. Very simple.
And it remains a scoreless game as Tony Pena leads off the 5th inning for the Red Sox. He lined out to right field in the 3rd. Strike 1.
You know, when you think and you win close ball games, you go back and think about plays like Wade Boggs just made, and a lot of times that is the turning point of a game. It doesn't have to happen late in the ball game.
That's right. Down low. Earlier before the game, Jim talked to Mike Greenwell about Tony Pena.
Yeah, we talked about it, and I think that's the bottom line. We talked about it, and I think some guys let him know. He used a poor choice of words there, and he understands that, and I understand what he was doing was trying to spark the team to get us going, and but sometimes you got to think about what you're going to say before you say it.
Greenwell alluding to the fact that Tony Pena made a little scene in the Red Sox clubhouse after a recent loss, threw a chair and called the Sox players quitters. He grounds out to third for the first out here in the 5th inning. Tony is a guy who plays with great intensity, great love for the game, and is a leader on this team. And Lou Gorman, the general manager, says he may be the biggest single reason why we are in contention because of all the things that he has brought to the ball club. And in a way, Tony was trying to have some type of a positive reaction to what he did, and it really backfired on him.
What you see here, what you hear here, let it stay here. That's the saying you see in a lot of locker rooms. I think what irritated most of the Red Sox players is the timing. They closed the locker room for 10 minutes. He didn't say anything, didn't throw any chairs, didn't call them quitters the minute the writers came in. He probably did it to try to motivate them. Well, we'll see. Maybe it'll work. That's 2 games ago and an off day. They had just lost a tough game 4-1 where Tom Bolton took a no-hitter into the 7th. Threw a 3-run home run, and they lose 4-1. The next night, 3-run home run by Sam Horn down in Baltimore.
Popped up. Mattingly may have a play. He's near the tarp. He will have room. 2 away.
Well,
let's get an update in the studio from John Saunders.
Tremendous defense up in Toronto where the Indians are facing the Jays. This is Wells to Brooke Jacoby. Looks like he has the gap in right center, but Junior Felix runs the ball down. If that's not enough, goes to the wall, comes up gunning. Sandy Alomar can't get back to first, and they have a double play from deep right center. Back to Steve and Jim.
Thank you, John. There's another play, just like the play Wade Boggs made here, that may turn out to be a gamer. You never know what's going to happen. Jody Reed, batting for the 3rd time, fouls it off for strike 1. Reed is 1 for 2. He has struck out and had a single to right.
Well, so far, Chuck Carey is doing a Ron Guidry impersonation. I remember sitting here back at 78, the year he went 25-3. And we said, how many years in a row can a guy 5'9", talking about Ron Guidry, throw that hard for that long? Carey much bigger, over 6'3", over 200 pounds.
Just outside and low, a ball and a strike.
As it turned out, Guidry pitching all the way till last year.
Yep, Louisiana Lightning. Outside again, 2-1.
I was reading some magazine where they said the average major league pitcher is a little over 6'2". But they have been some real gifted little guys.
How about Harvey Haddix?
Oh, boy.
The kitten.
On the first Oriole team I played on. About twice as old as I was, as was Stu Miller.
Well hit to left field. Hensley Mullins, however, is there and hauls in the line drive, and the inning is over. Boston retired in order in the 5th. Still a scoreless game. And only 5 hits along the way. And here's what's left for each team. Boston has these games remaining. And those 3 at Toronto, of course, extremely key for the Red Sox. Here's what Toronto has remaining. They will be on the road after they finish this series with Cleveland for the remainder of the season. Swing and a miss.
Red Sox 8-2 against the Blue Jays.
And they'll have to continue that if they want to have any hope of doing it, because it may come down to those 3 games that are the difference.
Well, you know,
Leyritz apparently, Jim, tried to bunt. It's 0-2.
Well, Clark thought, and that's all that matters. But it's a very simple formula. And Joe Morgan, who's a very pragmatic New Englander, said we just got to start playing better. Get a little bit better pitching. Hopefully Clemens will come back. Timely hitting, which is what they've gotten all year, or they wouldn't have gotten this far.
Well, I think he had a great line. He was asked, Joe Morgan, if he was surprised at the way the lead had evaporated. And he said, I'm not surprised at all. He said it quite tersely. He said, I've been here. I've seen every inning and every out. I'm not surprised at all.
Every home run, every error, every mental mistake.
Leyritz grounds to Rivera at short for the first out of the 5th inning. But of course, this guy, the Rocket, could provide a little pickup for them when he starts on Sunday, and it could be just the thing if he is the Roger that they expect him to be. And
yeah, is he going to be the 20-6 Roger Clemens with 204 strikeouts and 220 innings with under 2 runs a game, and you screw up a lot of your pitching in Fenway Park? Time will tell.
That could really set the Red Sox on a last week plus that might do it for them.
Yeah, I mean, and again, how long do you let him pitch? How does he come back his next start?
Some of you will see that game Sunday night here on ESPN.
Something I found very
Sunday
surprising,
afternoon, excuse me,
is the fact that Roger Clemens was out playing golf at a club that I belong to, and I found it very difficult to believe in a pennant race when you have tendonitis that you're swinging a golf club. But each his own. That is surprising.
We're at Yankee Stadium tonight on Baseball Tonight here on ESPN. Steve Zabriskie and Jim Palmer, as usual, bringing you the first of our Friday night doubleheader. No score with 1 out in the 5th inning and nobody on, as Dana Kicker and Chuck Carey have been doing it. 3-1 now to Randy Velarde, who grounded to third his first at bat. Kicker has allowed just 2 base hits, struck out 2 and walked 1. At one point, he retired 10 in a row. Looped into right field. Brunansky going back and makes the catch short of the track for out number 2. There's the games. There are the games that you will see this Sunday. And a reminder, it is 1:30 in the afternoon, not the previous starting time of 8 p.m. for Major League Baseball Sunday afternoon here on ESPN. The Cardinals at Pittsburgh as the B-Boys and the Pirates try to hold off the Mets and win it. Or some of you will see Boston and the Yankees right here from Yankee Stadium. Alvaro Espinoza with 2 out, nobody on, takes a strike. Espinoza grounded back to Dana Kicker in the 3rd inning. Fouled off the end of the bat, 0-2. And look at Pena. He's not going to get up. Well, now he is. He's got to get up to give the sign.
That's right.
And then he will do his semi-split and take a seat with nobody on base. A breaking ball back to Kicker again. And an easy inning again for Dana Kicker, who retires the Yankees in order in the 5th. We've played 5. Not a run yet. Well, there are some Red Sox fans that have made the trip, either driving or the train or the shuttle or some way. And she may be a Red Sox fan because she's wearing red, but it is a little cool here in New York this evening. Well, as we go to the 6th inning, it's been a little cool on the scoreboard, too. Things have yet to heat up. No score. Carlos Quintana leads it off. He's 0 for 2. Strike 1. Quintana has struck out looking and flied out to center. Wade Boggs and Ellis Burks to follow. 1-1. Quintana has really hit well against left-handed pitching this year. His average coming into tonight against left-handers, 362. But he is 0 for 2 against Chuck Carey. And now it's a ball and 2 strikes. Chuck Carey has given up 3 base hits. He has struck out 4, walked 1.
34 and 46 in the minor leagues. Comes a free agent. The Yankees grab him. Gets to pitch on a regular basis.
Out of play. Still 1-2.
How many guys over the years, all they need is the opportunity?
That's right. You know, I was talking to Tim Leary on the Yankees pitching staff before the game, and you were talking earlier about how their pitching seems to be coming together a little bit. And Tim was saying that he really feels like that's the plan. They've had such a struggle with their pitching staff for so long here in the Bronx. They feel like they're starting to get a staff together, and he hopes, of course, that he's part of that, as he is not signed for next year. But after they finish the season and make what moves they're going to make, he feels like once they have maybe 1 or 2 more things settled with the pitching staff, And Quintana's called out on strikes for the second time. 5th strikeout for Carey. Then they're going to have to get their offense together. Let's check out John Saunders in the studio.
Houston and Atlanta. Now, earlier this year, the Red Sox hit into a couple of triple plays in the same game. Here's one. Cabrera to Ken Caminiti, to Dave Rohde, to Mike Sims. Around the horn, the triple play gets Jim DeShays out of trouble. They stand at 1-0. Let's go back to Steve and Jim.
Well, you don't see that very often, and I happened to be doing that game in which there were 2 triple plays. And also a game where there was American League record set on double plays by both teams. This has been an unusual year when you think about the things that have happened in the
9
no-hitters
right.
and all that.
Was that Red Sox with 6 double plays?
Yep, and there were 10 in the game, I think. Wade Boggs with another one to left field. Mulin's coming in. He can't get it. It'll go for extra bases. Boggs will head for third. And he will make it. A 1-out triple by Wade Boggs with 1 out in the 6th. Boggs' 5th triple of the year.
Actually a double until Hensley Mullins decides he thinks he can catch it. In the old times, they used to have a gutter. See balls get by left fielder, go all the way around. He has taken double if the ball falls. And the only reason he got to third was because the ball rolled so far by Mullins. Guy with speed, it's 1-0.
Yep.
I mean, you could canter around the bases easily.
You can see Wade stumble as he got to first base. Ellis Burks with a deep drive to left. It is gone.
Number 20 for Ellis Burks. Told you about high pitches up in the strike zone. In that situation, man on third, they brought the infield in, so you're thinking, maybe not strikeout, obviously, on the first pitch, but you're thinking pop-up. There is not a better high ball hitter. And this ball is long gone. You can see Chuck Carey, he knows immediately off the bat.
Mike Greenwell fouls it off. He's 2 for 2 tonight, and it's strike 1. 2-0 Boston. Tony Pena doing a little cheerleading as everybody gets up to greet Ellis Burks. Greenwell slaps it over to third base. Randy Velarde throws him out. 2 out. "20 homers and 86 RBIs now for Ellis Burks as he gives Boston a 2-0 lead in the 6th inning. Chuck Carey was almost on cruise control until the triple by Boggs and the ensuing first pitch home run by Ellis Burks.
Well, he was in the way he was pitching, but the score dictates that you're never ever on cruise control when your team doesn't score you any runs. One mistake, you can't really look at the ball that Boggs hit as a mistake, just a fister that was fisted into left field. Mullins, an inexperienced outfielder, tries to play it. And again, I think that maybe Carey's thinking pop-up. Let's go up in the strike zone. But when you're around the league and you've seen Ellis Burks over 3 or 4 years, he just crushes a high fastball, gets his arms extended. He helicoptered on that ball.
Boy, I'm telling you, that was a line shot way out of here. Dwight Evans is 0 for 2. He has struck out swinging and lined out hard to third. Did he hold up? Yes. John Hirschbeck's had quite a few appeals down there tonight. It's 2 balls and 1 strike. 2 out, nobody on.
Talk so much about getting your weight back. Look at the way Evans gets up on that front toe. Hard to be lunging forward when you have your weight kind of like a golf swing. 80% of your weight should ultimately get back on the right leg if you're a right-handed golfer. Get up on the toe. Another disciple of Walt Reniak, who was the Red Sox batting coach for a number of years.
Evans unable to get the high fastball, and it's 3-2. Yep. Riniak now with the White Sox, and Dwight Evans with a batting cage in his basement at home. And he's down on strikes. So Carey comes back to get the final 2 outs after Ellis Burks' 2-run home run. Makes it 2-0 Boston. 2-0 Boston as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. A reminder that Tuesday night here on ESPN, you'll see the New York Mets at Montreal. Some will see Chicago at Pittsburgh. And of course the Expos just swept a doubleheader the other day from the Mets, and the Expos are back in it. It's almost a really, yeah, it is. I mean, what you'd have to call a 3-team race right now. Roberto Kelly leading off the 6th is 1 for 2 with a single and a stolen base.
Al Clark taking one off the shin or the leg.
Well, I think that would be the definition of hopping mad.
That's right. That was Al Clark's slam dunk.
Boy, I'll tell you what.
Al not known for his vertical leap. Unless it's a plate of pasta.
You're so cruel.
I know him well.
Grounded to Boggs.
He's kind of like you.
Yeah?
Yeah.
In what respect?
Last time you leaped was when they passed out the Haagen-Dazs bars.
Oh, you're getting vicious now.
Oh.
You're getting vicious.
Well, tell us about Steve Sachs makes his way to the plate. Tell us about the letter you got, or what was it, a Federal Express package?
Oh,
down in Houston?
Yes.
How did they spell your name?
Interesting.
Tubrisky?
I must be very well known at ESPN because I didn't get my airline ticket because it was delivered to the hotel with my name misspelled.
How was that? T instead of a Z?
A T instead of a Z.
Oh, that's easily. You can interpose those 2 letters real quick.
And so, of course, the hotel had no clue that they had a package for me. I kept calling and asking, and I even personally went to the front desk. Sachs grounds to third. Boggs again makes the play. 2 away. Finally, someone at the hotel had the presence of mind to say, well, let's just look at all the packages and see if there's anything close. And they found an overnight letter with my airline ticket in it. So I was able to get here to New York to
so instead of Zabriskie,
be insulted by you.
It was Tubrisky with T-U-B? Tubrisky? No? Or is it T-A? Which one?
T-A.
Oh, okay.
I know you'd love it to be T-U-B. And you'll never let me forget it. Never. Don Mattingly, 1 for 2, takes a strike.
Well, back to the game.
I should have saved it so I could show it to you.
Please do. They saved it at the desk.
That's right.
If there's anything is momentum in baseball, you get 2 runs on the board, you'd like to have a quick inning. Put your team right back up at the plate.
Dana Kicker now with something with which to work. A 2-run lead. Mattingly fouled it off Pena. A ball and 2 strikes.
You know, it's funny. You have a 1-run lead, or in this case, a 2-run lead. Earl Weaver used to tell me you can't get hurt. You have a 2-run lead till 2 guys get on base. And a lot of times, that extra run will make you relax, and that's the key to hitting. There's a relaxed guy with a 2-run lead.
He'd like to have a 2-game lead instead of down by a game. Again, Mattingly fouls it off, and it's still 1-2. Don looks a lot different since he lost the mustache.
I think the one big difference, we talked about the fact he hasn't hit a home run in over 220 times at bat. You see the numbers, just an outstanding RBI hitter, average hitter. Is that I don't think he's getting back as much. I think he's still hoping his back's going to be all right. He was the type of guy that if you threw him a breaking ball, he could hit it in the seats as quickly as possible. Quick on the fastball in, out over the plate. When I pitched against him in the early 80s, he was a left field hitter, but he had the ability in his best home run years when he hit over 30 to go out and get the ball and rake it into the right field seats.
Fouled off again. It's about the 5th in a row. It's still a ball and 2 strikes. Well, he really obviously has the ability to come back and again be one of the premier hitters in baseball, but anybody who's had any kind of a back problem knows how debilitating it can be. And you just think about the movements that you have to make and the stress and strain on your back in baseball. And it doesn't take much to re-aggravate something.
Yeah, that's why he said, I know what I need to do to play first base and to hit, to try to play in a full season. That's why I'm trying to strengthen my back.
He told me before the game one thing he really appreciated was the Yankees' patience in allowing him to have the time and do the things necessary to get himself back in shape. And obviously they had the luxury of not really needing him because they're not going anywhere this year. But Stump Merrill, you know, and the Yankee front office, to their credit, sees the bigger picture here. This is a guy we want to have next year. Line drive speared by Jody Reed, and the inning is over. The Yankees go in order. Dana Kicker has retired 7 in a row and leads 2-0. Will always be remembered for the Boston Massacre. Yankees entered the series 4 games behind the Sox, but then were swept in a 4-game series at home by a score of 42-9 combined. Then Bucky Dent hit the 3-run home run in the climactic 1-game playoff to win the division for New York and finish Boston's great collapse of 1978. Here we go to the top of the 7th inning. 2-0 Boston, and Tom Brunansky leads it off. Strike 1. Bruno 1 for his last 15 has flied out to left and popped out in foul territory to Mattingly at first. 1-1.
Yeah, they really thought that Tom Brunansky would be the answer. He did hurt his left shoulder, but 32 games coming into this year. You know, he's been playing with the Cardinals a couple of years. 10 home runs. Drove in over 21 RBIs. So they felt this was the power hitter they needed. The fact that Dwight Evans with the back problems could not play right field. Brunansky plays right field well.
And here's a guy in Bruno who over the last 8 seasons has hit over 20 home runs a year. So they were looking for more than 10 for him here, or from him rather, here in 1990. And he chases a bad one and is down on strikes. Now 1 hit in his last 16 at bats.
Strikeout number 7 for Chuck Carey. Again, similar formula. Fastballs away, and he gets ahead in the count. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Again, a ball well out of the strike zone. Just don't see the spin on a good slider. He has made 1 major mistake. High fastball to Ellis Burks. 2-run home run. That's the difference.
Tony Pena takes a strike. He has lined out hard to right and grounded to third. Pena came into the game having hit .412 over his last 6 games and .333 in his last 21. A breaking ball fouled off, and it's 0-2.
Well, you wonder if he will be able to play the last 12 games with the same physical abilities. I mean, he's been in 131 ball games.
And here's the guy that plays winter baseball still at this stage in his career, not because anybody wants him to. In fact, they probably would prefer he doesn't. But he's so popular in the Dominican Republic, where he's from, that he continues to play on a team just because it supports the local team, because people will come out and see him. On the ground up the middle, a base hit into center field. A 1-out single for Pena. That's the 6th hit for the Red Sox.
I got to think that Joe Morgan, Red Sox manager, will do something here. He either got to sacrifice. Luis checking the signs from rack slider down to third. You got to hit and run, even though that's probably the more of the evil type of play because Pena does not run that well. He does have 5 steals, but he's been caught more times. That's 6. I'd bunt him over for Jody Reed, try to pick up another run.
And one of the reasons in throwing to first is to see if you can find out whether or not the hitter, in this case Luis Rivera, is going to bunt. Maybe he will tip his hand too quickly, but Rivera made no move. Rivera has struck out and popped out. He is bunting. Carey will go to first. And the sacrifice moves Pena to second with 2 out. Let's go back for an update from John Saunders.
Expos had trailed 3-0 to the Phillies. It was 3-1 when Jose De Jesus serves it up to the big cat. Andres Galarraga, that's a 3-run home run. Tim Wallach and Delano DeShields also aboard as Montreal takes a 4-3 lead, trying to stay in the race in the East. Let's go back to Steve and Jim.
Thank you, John. El Gato Grande. Here come the Expos. They may be there at the end as well.
What an amazing team.
I'll tell you.
Boy, I mean, you got to give a lot of credit, not only to the Expos, but their manager, Buck Rogers. Somehow, Ubi Brooks leaves, pitching staff decimated. Perez comes to New York. They hang in there.
Yep. I think Buck Rogers has become one of the premier managers in baseball, and what he has done has not really been appreciated because the Expos haven't won it all, or even the division. Jody Reed fouling it out of play, and the count 1-1. Of course, last year Montreal had a real chance, not that they don't this year, and they folded badly.
Mark Langston unable to win the last month. Offensively, of course, Brooks, who went on to play with the Dodgers this year, had a fabulous September.
But of course, Buck Rogers, as all managers do, took the heat for that. And I think managers are a lot like NFL quarterbacks. I think they get too much credit when the team does very well, and they take too much blame when the team doesn't do well. It's somewhere, the real deal is somewhere in between.
The real deal.
The real deal.
Did you just sell cars?
No.
Oh, you were a disc jockey. The real deal.
It's like the real Don Steele. Yeah. Joe Morgan, unfazed by most things. He has lost his temper a couple of times, but by and large, it's a pretty even keel situation with him. 3-1.
The word stoic.
Yes, that would come to mind.
Most
Stump Merrill is a little more animated, on the other hand.
Well, he's done a good job. You know, you look at a Yankee record, 60 wins, 90 losses. Figure how can you say that? But it's been a tough year. Winfield trade, Steinbrenner out of baseball.
Strike called, 3-2.
Unsettled pitching staff. You go out and sign Pascual Perez. He managed to pitch 14 innings. Righetti was going to be either the #1 starter or the #2, 3, or 4, or 5, or whatever. And then he was going to be the closer along with Guterman or Rencatere. Disarray type of year.
Ball 4. So with 2 out, runners at first and second. Second walk given up by Carey. And it'll bring up Carlos Quintana.
Now, see, if you're Joe Morgan, by bunting the runner into scoring position, you put the pressure on the opposition. Chuck Carey already 2 runs down. He's got to make the perfect pitch to Jody Reed. Doesn't do it. He walks him. Now you bring up a guy that's hitting over 290. He's already got 65 RBIs. The man can hit in spite of the fact he's flied out and struck out. But you create a situation where you take a 2-run ball game and you may put the lid on this one. 4 or 5 runs may score.
And Stump Merrill had the catcher Jim Leyritz go out and buy some time and waited until Leyritz came back behind the plate, and now he comes out. So we'll see if we have a change here. Quintana, of course, a right-handed hitter, hitting although 0 for 3 tonight, 362 against left-handed pitching. So Stump may well know that.
Yeah, and I'd be surprised, and not the surprise, but what Stump's got to do, whether you're 60 and 90 or 90 and 60, you got to do what you think is the most and best way to win a ball game. And maybe it's leaving Chuck Carey in, which is what he's going to do. They had a very controversial conversation, Robinson the right-hander and the lefty Greg Cadaret, a couple of weeks ago. Yanked out of a ball game where he had given up Robinson the righty, Cadaret the lefty. I don't know if but anyway, Carey saying he wanted to pitch into the 4th inning, giving up 8 base hits, 3 walks. Stump Merrill said simple, get somebody out. Tonight he leaves him in there.
He just may have gone out and reminded him, hey, this is where you need to get somebody out if you're going to stay in this game.
And if we are going to stay in this game as
Boston,
a team.
you're right, Boston already leading by 2, and Quintana misses it for strike 1. Carlos has not fared well against Carey tonight, and you know that could be the reason that Carey convinced Stump to leave him in. He struck him out twice and got him to fly out harmlessly to center field.
Well, Chuck Carey can make Stump Merrill look like a good manager simply by getting Carlos Quintana out. He can make him look like a chump by giving up a double. Simple as that.
Foul on a play, and it's 0-2. On top of his ability to hit left-handed pitching this year, Quintana has hit .336 with runners in scoring position. And he has one right there.
Well, it makes the loss of Nick Saski that much less damaging. Saski with over 100 RBIs, 30 home runs. Quintana only with 7, but he's played a pretty good first base. Told you about those 65 runs batted in.
Tony Pena at second, Jody Reed at first. A 2-0 Boston lead with 2 out in the top of the 7th inning. 2 strikes the count. One and 2.
He has only thrown 2 screwballs tonight. Mostly fastballs and sliders. He's turned a couple over.
Did he get him? It's strike 3, but Quintana might make it. And here comes Pena. He's going to be out.
Well, talk about dumb base running. You got the bases loaded. Lawrence thought about having to play at first, and he may have had it, but he made the right decision. Threw it to the pitcher.
Still 2-0. Carlos Quintana was hitting when the unusual play unfolded. Strike 3, allowing him with 2 out to go to first.
Strikeout number 8, and this is scored as a pass ball. Lawrence letting it get by him. Tony Pena, one thing to his credit, he never ever either looks at rack slider or hesitates. Chuck Carey very alertly, you said it best in between. One of the cardinal rules of base running, never make the first or the 3rd out at third base. How about the 3rd out at home? Would have been bases loaded
with Wade
Boggs up.
But those are the kinds of things that the Red Sox have done that have contributed to their demise.
And Joe Morgan will tell you, he says we've done it all year. So this is not choking. This is not being nervous. This is not being apprehensive.
Kevin Moss with a fly ball to right field. Bernansky has it, 1 away. Back to the studio for an update with John.
The Pirates started the night with a 3-game lead over the Mets, trying to add to it here. Sid Bream against Jose De Leon. Langford goes back, won't get to it. It's off the wall. Bonds comes all the way around from first to score to give the Pirates a 1-0 lead in the 7th on the double. They're now in the 8th, still 1-0. Back to Steve and Jim.
And a reminder that will be the game on Sunday. The Cardinals and the Pirates here on ESPN, 1:30 in the afternoon. Some of you will see this game right here, Boston and the Yankees as well. Sunday afternoon affair here on ESPN. The final 2 Sundays of the season. Jesse Barfield has popped out to short and walked. Ball 2.
Well, Chuck Carey picked up Stump Merrill. Dana Kicker can pick up Tony Pena just by shutting him out the rest of the way. Either that by himself or with some help. That will make everybody forget about that base running blunder.
Popped up. Jody Reed going out to short right field, but Brunansky will have the play for the second out of the 7th inning. And that'll bring up Hensley Mullins, who is 0 for 2. Hensley Mullins with a chance, if he has a long major league career, to make the all-name team.
Oh, yes. Not to be confused with Helmsley.
Boy, around here you do not want to be confused.
That's exactly why I said that.
Helmsley.
The Yankees against right-handed starting pitchers, 37 and 64. I think they don't miss Mattingly, even though he's playing tonight. Haven't missed him over the course of the 90 season.
Well, just to show you, he and Maz are the only left-handed hitters in the lineup.
Yeah. Seven.
Maz hadn't been here the whole year either.
7 right-handers in this lineup. Of course, they could be throwing Mel Hall against you. Claudell Washington still injured. In fact, have you seen Claudell this year?
Yes, I saw him in the clubhouse before the game. But you mean on the field playing?
Yeah. Well.
No. No, I have not. Rick Cerrone there with Don Mattingly. The slider missed, 2-2. Mullins tonight has hit a couple of rockets. He hit a line drive out to center field and a wicked one-hopper to Boggs, who made a fine play at third to get a force play at second to end the inning in the 4th. Three and two out, nobody on. Boston leading 2-0 in the 7th inning.
We talked about it earlier, the luxury when you are not playing well. Mattingly's hurt to go with the youngsters. This will help them in 91. No doubt about it. Especially playing against teams that want to win a pennant.
Boggs again with the play. And the inning is over. Wade Boggs with 3 good plays tonight. Boston still leading it 2-0. Welcome back to Yankee Stadium on Baseball Tonight here on ESPN. Steve Zabriskie and Jim Palmer with you, and a 2-0 Boston lead as we go to the 8th. And a hopeful fan
from the Catskills.
Yeah, it's one thing to it's one thing to bring your glove, right? But these guys have nets.
We're almost into the year 2000. What will they think of next?
Look at all the nets. Fishing for foul
Holy
balls.
cow, Stevie!
Can you believe it?
Doesn't Harry have one of those?
Yes.
Chicago?
Yes, Harry has a net.
I don't mean a hair net. I mean a...
That's a famous net. Wade Boggs, with a count of 1 ball and 1 strike, has a triple in 3 at-bats. And his average right where it began the night, 310. That'll be out of play in the count 1-2.
Talked about his lifetime batting average at 352. Game inning hitting tonight around 310. I got to think, you know, even though Richie Hebner was an outstanding minor league or major league player, the Walt Reniak work ethic is, I think, Boggs very dependent on that. He was, you know, last year hit 330, which most hitters would dream about hitting.
Yep, and at 22 points below his career average. I mean, he has set such a high standard for himself that it's going to be very difficult for him to maintain it as his career goes on. Again, like the 200 hits, trying to get it for the 8th year in a row.
There's one thing we talked about, the injury. You do have to stay healthy. He's been able to do that the last 7 years. This year, the wrist injury, even though, as you said, if he gets to a ball game, he will get around 200.
Did he go? Yes. Oh. Dave Phillips, the third base umpire, punches out Wade Boggs for the first out here in the 8th inning. That is the 9th strikeout for Chuck Carey.
Carey may be pitching his best game of the year. Tough to tell from this angle. Davey Phillips at third base. And the reason Al Clark is pointing down there is he's got a better viewpoint than we had on television and he had at home plate. affirmation from Davy Phillips. Number 9. That's a lot of strikeouts.
Ellis Burke's 2-run home run, the difference in the game, is 20th of the year in the 6th inning with Boggs aboard. And a high fly ball into right center field. Barfield calling for it. 2 away. Let's go back and take a look at the charge. Ellis Burke's put in one in his previous at bat.
Man at third with 1 out, infield in. Whammo.
I'm telling you. He jumped all over that pitch.
Well, it looked like the ball was running away. He just looked out, which is what a hitter can do in certain situations. You got to have a quick bat to get the bat head out on the outer half of the plate and pull the ball.
Mike Greenwell hits one high and deep to right center. Home run. Greenwell with his 13th of the year, and it's 3-0 Boston.
I believe it's a high slider. Yep. Hung inside, didn't get it out over the plate. First time up, Greenwell sliced one in the left field on a fastball. That slider, about 5 miles per hour slower, makes Chuck Carey very sad. 2 mistakes, 2 home runs, 3 runs. And that's what he trails by.
He has now given up 19 home runs on the year. That was Greenwell's 3rd hit of the night. And the count to Dwight Evans, a ball and no strikes. 1-1, and that really blasted Leyritz.
You made a good point early about the fact that Chuck Carey, as we look at Jim Leyritz trying to shake off the foul ball off his mask. But Chuck Carey's 6'4". He's about 215 pounds. He is a high ball pitcher, even in Yankee Stadium, with the dimensions being brought in over the last couple of years. They're going to throw a lot of home runs. I would think for him to be successful, he's going to have to work the ball lower in the strike zone. Maybe throw a couple more 2-seam fastballs that sink.
Foul back.
Get back to that screwball, which was so successful for him last year. It has nothing to do with the fact that he has not pitched a good game. He has pitched a terrific game tonight. But as most pitchers, you're dependent on your offense. Yankees, worst offense in the American League.
Slapped on the ground to short. Alvaro Espinoza throws out Evans, and the inning is over. But the home run by Greenwell tacks another one on to the Boston lead. 3-0 in the middle of the 8th. 3-0 here. The Red Sox with the lead going to the bottom of the 8th. And into the game, Larry Anderson on the mound, relieving Dana Kicker, who goes 7 innings and leaves as the winning pitcher of record.
Larry Anderson required from Houston. There are the numbers. Boy, 20 strikeouts in 14 innings, only 6 hits. Very impressive 3 base on balls. Was in 50 games for Houston, saved 6 games, was 5-2 with an ERA of under 2 runs a ball game. Houston trying to rebuild, get back on the pennant race in the National League West. So he is eligible for the playoffs if the Red Sox make it. Well, Chuck Carey pitched 7.5 innings. He knows if he gets a chance to go back out there, he better get him out. Maybe they'll come up with 3 or 4 runs, and he will either get a no decision or a win. Right now, got a big L looming in his face.
Yes.
He pitched well, though.
He did. He pitched very well. The 2 home runs have done him in to this point. Oscar Zokar, the rookie, is going to pinch hit for Jim Leyritz, and Leyritz taking that foul ball off the point of his shoulder, may be injured, or it may be just that Stump Merrill elected to pinch hit here. Zokar hitting .236, 4 homers, 18 RBIs. As a pinch hitter, he's 2 for 7. And he bunts it right by Anderson. Only the third hit for the Yankees.
Well, some people might call this a swinging bunt. This is just bunt it, like old Forbes Field. Rivera at short, not expecting the bunt, playing back, probably normal position, and you get a base runner.
Anytime
you need.
Excuse me, Jim. Anytime the second baseman or the shortstop field a bunt, you're probably going to have a base hit.
Larry Anderson, known for his slider, as he faced Matt Notes coming into pinch hit. Notes pinch hitting for Randy Velarde.
And hitting .252. Now with the ground ball to short, it could be a double play, and a tough throw for Jody Reed. Noakes beats it out.
And the reason it was such a tough play is that Jody Reed playing Matt's Notes in the hole to pull. Rivera could have and would have been much better advised to take it himself. He was closer to second base than Jody Reed was. Right here he gets the ball. This is perfect double play. Reed's having to come about maybe 20 steps. Tries to turn the double play. Boy, it looked like he may have been out by about a quarter of a step. Great effort by Jody Reed. Decide for yourself. And my partner says he was safe. Former umpire Steve Zabriskie made the call.
Well, it looked like he was safe anyway. Another pinch hitter for the Yankees, Mel Hall, is going to bat for Alvaro Espinoza, and now Stump Merrill's coming out to home plate umpire Al Clark. Jim Whalewander in as a pinch runner at first base for Matt Noakes, who reached on the fielder's choice.
Former Detroit Tiger.
And Joe Morgan makes the appropriate adjustments to his lineup card. Mel Hall hitting .259 with 12 homers and 46 RBIs. As a pinch hitter, Mel is 3 for 14. He has a pinch hit home run and has driven in 2.
And they will play a couple of steps behind him. Trying to take away the first base hole.
Breaking ball, low ball 1. 1 out and 1 on. And you can see that the third baseman Wade Boggs is way off the line, and the defense on the right side is shifted over, expecting Hall to pull the ball that way. And there goes the runner, Whalewander, and he's in there easily.
Well, it's a gamble. If you're Joe Morgan, you play behind Whalewander and he steals second. Takes you out of a double play situation. And it's a trade-off. You figure that you're not really worried about this run. This represents the first run. The guy you are worried about is on deck. He represents the tying run. So the double play no longer in order.
2 balls and no strikes to Hall. Fouled off outside third, 2-1. Larry Anderson is one of the great dry wits of all time. He has a great sense of humor. It was Anderson who wondered. He wonders about things. That's what he does. He wondered also why sour cream has an expiration date on it.
When it's already sour?
Yeah, what's it going to do? Go good? Then he also wanted to know why.
A lot of time in the bullpen, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of time in the bullpen. Why do we drive on the parkway and park on the driveway? I mean, these are things worth contemplating, I think. But that's Larry Anderson. He is all business, however, when he takes the mound. 2-2 to Hall. Whalewander at second with 1 out. Fouled off. It's still 2-2. high chopper down the first baseline. What a play by Anderson as he snagged the ball on the run and beat Mel Hall to the bag. And on the play, Whale Wander goes to third.
Well, he made a play that I think I would have maybe tried to surround. Very difficult. Again, it's a high chopper. I don't think it's going to get by him. If he just circles the ball, he can make the play. Going so softly, but right here, first baseman, second baseman coming in. Why not take it yourself? Keep the runner at third.
And it eliminates any possibility of the ball being dropped in the exchange.
That it does.
Well, so now Whale Wander at third with 2 out for Roberto Kelly, who is 1 for 3.
You know, that's a ball you, in spring training, they hit those high choppers, you immediately call. Real difficult to do that when you don't know if you can get to it as a pitcher.
He's racing the ball, and then when he gets the ball, he's racing the runner.
Exactly. And if you let the first or second baseman field the ball, then you all meet in a little group about 20 feet from first base.
Foul out of play. Strike 2. Jeff Gray, the right-hander, and Rob Murphy, the left-hander, warming for Boston.
Jeff Gray really carrying the Red Sox during the latter part of August. 7 saves in his last 7 chances. Rob Murphy, the lefty, a tough year for him. That's why they went out and got Larry Anderson.
High and away, 1 and 2.
If you're Joe Morgan down the stretch, who do you use? Reardon coming back from back surgery, not pitching with his usual stuff. Do you go with Anderson, who's a veteran, or do you go with Gray, who's done the job for you? Tough decision.
It is a tough decision. Off the end of the bat to second base, Jody Reed to Carlos Quintana. The inning is over. 1 hit and 1 left in the 8th for the Yankees. Boston takes their lead to the 9th.
If Mets fans are watching tonight, you're getting that sinking feeling in the National League East. Zane Smith, what a job he's done here. His 5th victory as a Pirate. Complete Game 5 hitter, getting Langford there in the 9th inning. They now have a 3.5 game lead over the Mets. Meantime, the Expos trying to stay in it, but in the 7th inning, Darren Dalton here, scoring Lenny Dykstra to tie the game at 4-4. Should the Phillies come back and win this game, Montreal would fall 5.5 back. It's 4-4 in the 7th. Let's go back to Steve and Jim.
Thank you, John. Nothing like those pennant races time. Jim Whale Wander remains in the game and will play third base, replacing Randy Velarde. Into the game at shortstop for the Yankees, Wayne Tolleson replaces Alvaro Espinoza. And doing the catching now is Bob Guerin, who replaces Jim Layridge, who was also pinch hit for. And on the mound, new pitcher for the Yankees, Eric Kerr Plunk, as the Boomer would say, in relief of Chuck Carey, who went 8 strong innings but leaves trailing 3-0.
Yeah, Plunk, a overpowering fastball, good numbers, only 55 hits in 69 innings, 63 strikeouts. Came over the Ricky Henderson trade. Polonia coming from Oakland along with Greg Cadaret and Eric Plump. Big curveball, high, about a 90-plus fastball. If you were a batter, Bernansky, who is a fastball hitter, better get the bat going. You can flat fog it by you.
Bruno 0 for 3, and he puts a charge in one to left center field. Mullins won't catch up to it. It's off the base of the wall. Kelly will throw it in. But Brunansky with a leadoff double to start the Boston 9th.
Why don't, when I say he can flat fog it by you, does he start off the hitter with a breaking ball?
He didn't hear you. He couldn't hear you. That's obvious.
Take another look. He does have an overpowering fastball. This is some kind of breaking ball. Where is it? Right on a tee, belt high. Bernansky, who has not been swinging well tonight, gets his arms extended, gets it to the farthest point in left center field, and Didn't look like he was running too well. Jeff Stone will come in to pinch run for Tom Bernansky. It's an interesting move. Jeff Stone, a very good base runner, a lot of speed, but not known to be that good an outfielder. I wonder if he will go in and play right field with a 3-run lead.
And that would be sacrificing significant defense. Kevin Romine is also available to play right field should Joe Morgan call upon him. Tony Pena prepared to bunt, and he gets one a little close and goes down. Ball 1.
Well, when you square around early, they tell you to throw the ball up in the strike zone.
It really wasn't that close
No.
to Pena. He almost ducked into it. Tony has single to center in 3 at-bats. Bernansky at second with nobody out. Swinging away and slapping it foul out of play. 1-1.
Yeah, Tony's saying, well, if it worked for Oscar Azokar, maybe I can put the ball in play. Bring your defense in and slap it by him.
Meanwhile, Don Mattingly's life just passed before his eyes.
Right.
As he was in even farther than that when Pena lined it his way. Now he's not sure. 1-1. Pena is bunting, and Plunk bobbles it. Everybody's safe.
Well, you said it well, Eric Plunk. That is a play that he bounced off the mound at 6'5", a long way to the ground, but he had pinch runner Jeff Stone nailed at third base if he comes up with the play and throws him out. This is not a good bunt. Right there, 2 hops to the pitcher. Well, at least it was supposed to be to the pitcher. And Guerin pointing, of course, third, then first. Well, that, again, when you're taught where to go, the catcher tells you. He tells you, of course, when you throw home runs, where to go too sometimes. But he gives you directions because he can see the plays. Luis in front of him. Yeah.
Well, he did the appropriate thing. Guerin was saying third when if he feels it cleanly. Then when he bobbled it, he still had a chance had he been able to pick it up immediately to get Pena at first. So he changed the call, but Plunk was unable to do either.
Well, we saw Jim Cott before the game.
Yes.
He did not exhibit Cott's cat-like reflexes once he dropped it.
Kitty was perhaps the best.
Best I ever
Certainly
saw.
one of the all-time greats at fielding that position.
Well, those are small things, but when you come in and you have a chance to get an out and you don't, 3-0 ball game can get away from you.
Infield in for the Yankees. Runners at first and third. Foul back. Guerin gives it a look, but it's out of play. 1-1. 3-0 Boston leading with nobody out in the top of the 9th inning. At last report, a 1-1 tie in Toronto in the 8th inning. And with a 1-game deficit, now Robinson, who's been throwing, joined by Cataray, who was up and then down. Boston holds on and wins, and Toronto were to lose, we'd be back with a tie in the American League East. And Rivera with a squeeze play on, misses the ball. Jeff Stone finally run down and tagged out. Pena goes to second and holds there. Almost an impossible pitch to bunt in defense of Luis Rivera.
Well, Joe Morgan probably thinking you'd get a fastball. That's not an easy pitch either when you throw over 90, but a lot of people feel the curveball is an easier pitch to bunt because the ball is going down. But this one is in the dirt right there, well out in front of the plate. Rivera can't get it. Guerin does. Right here, the speed of Whale Wander really helps the Yankees because Jeff Stone can run. And they get the out.
So Pena at second with 1 out, and Rivera still hitting with a count of 1-2.
Yeah, if there's any redeeming quality to that play is that Pena got into scoring position. It's the only thing I can think of.
Yep. That's not a bad idea. It's not a bad play. It's just that it was almost an impossible pitch to bunt. Rivera.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful play when it works. The squeeze play.
And you don't see it very often, that's for sure.
Well, that's one of the reasons you don't, because a lot of times it doesn't work.
It's a gamble. Good breaking ball, and Rivera swings right through it, and he's out. First strikeout for Eric Plunk, the 10th of the night for Yankee pitching, as Chuck Carey struck out 9.
This time a big curveball. Starts up, goes down. This is what Luis Rivera has to look at. And that's normal speed, real tight spin. That's what a good curveball has. You swing right over the top.
So the top of the order, and Jody Reed with Pena still at second. Now 2 out. Reed is 1 for 3 plus a walk. Down low, ball 1.
Yeah, that big curveball is a pitch that I used to throw. It is a very difficult pitch to start hitters off with because very few hitters will swing at it. So if you're Jody Reed, big curveball, unless you come back with another one, he most likely is looking for the fastball. And he did come with, yeah, came back with another one.
But Reed takes it, it's 1-1.
If you start hitters off with a curveball, you better be able to throw back to back, or they will be sitting on that high hard one or the fastball. Takes a hitter that may have some doubt in his mind and makes him think he knows what's coming.
Anytime you can get an element of doubt in the hitter's mind, you've got a big advantage as a pitcher.
Well, the guy that the Red Sox will send out there tomorrow, Mike Boddicker, somewhat unpredictable. Just when you think he can't throw it any more slowly, he does.
Curveball and a strike called. Throwing through is Bob Guerin. But Pena scrambles back. It's a ball and 2 strikes.
Yankees leading the American League in throwing out potential stolen bases. Pena, we've already seen him try to score on a wild pitch. He almost gets picked off.
Sometimes you can be overly aggressive, and Pena has a tendency to fall into that.
Because that is a long throw. It's 90 feet to first and third, but over 128 feet from home plate all the way to second base.
Low and away. And you saw Guerin set up outside. 2-2. That's what's amazing about guys like Pena and Santiago, who throw down there from their knees, or in Pena's case, from a sitting position. Outside, 3-2.
Very unusual defense on Jody Reed. They play him in the off field, which is what you should, very shallow, but deep in left field. I've already seen him drive a ball to left. So Kelly in center, shallow. Barfield in right, shallow, but the left fielder, Muellen's playing very deep.
In the dirt, ball 4, blocked by Guerin. Pena with no chance to go to third. And Reed walks to put runners at first and second with 2 out. Red Sox up 3-0 in the 9th. As Stump Merrill looks on, and Carlos Quintana stands in 0 for 4. He has struck out 3 times and flied to center. Fastball, looper, caught by Steve Sachs. The Red Sox threaten but are turned away in the 9th. They do, however, take a 3-run lead to the bottom of the inning. Our Budweiser storyline tonight shows good pitching, but 2 home runs by the Red Sox, the difference in the game. Ellis Burks with his 20th of the year in the 6th inning to give them a 2-0 lead, and then Mike Greenwell, his solo shot, 13th of the year, made it 3-0. Dana Kicker with a 2-hit shutout through 7 innings. Chuck Carey pitched very well through 8, just the 2 home runs, the blemish on his record with 9 strikeouts in 8 innings. So it's a 3-0 Red Sox lead going to the bottom of the 9th, and Kevin Romine into right field defensively as Tom Brunansky was pinch run for. And Larry Anderson will try to pick up his first save in a Boston uniform.
And he'll do it through the heart of the order for the Yankees. Stump Merrill, the manager of the Yankees. You got to like the first 3 hitters coming up.
Sachs, Mattingly, and Moss. Sachs is 0 for 3. He's grounded out twice and flied to center.
Steve with 205 hits of last year, his first year in the American League.
On the corner, strike 1.
Of course, former Dodger, played with the Dodgers for a number of years, should know Larry Anderson. He'll know what his repertoire is all about.
On the ground toward first, Carlos Quintana takes it 1 away. Let's get another update from the Baseball Tonight studio and John.
George Brett started the day 1 point ahead of Ricky Henderson in the batting race. Here is his 45th double of the year that leads the major leagues, coming off Kirk McCaskill. Pacoda comes in, Seitzer follows him, and the Royals finally get on the board. It's now 4-2 as Brett races towards perhaps his 3rd batting title in 3 decades. Let's go back to Steve and Jim.
Thanks, John. Boy, if George can win it, that'll be, without a doubt, the highlight of the Kansas City season this year, and they could use one. Here's Don Mattingly, 1 for 3. Inside, ball 1. Mattingly singled to center back in the 4th inning. He's also grounded to second and lined out to second. Strike, 1-1.
Don Mattingly winning a batting championship back in 1984 when he hit .343.
Two and 1. A reminder, Cincinnati trying to win it in the West and go wire to wire. No National League team has ever done it. At San Diego next, right here on ESPN, is the second half of our Friday night Baseball Tonight doubleheader. Grounded foul. Took a little hop outside the bag. 2-2. Gary Thorne and Joe Morgan are standing by in San Diego. Not bad duty.
No.
Probably a little warmer tonight than it is here. I know that Gary Thorne was out there on that beach this morning as soon as he could, catching those rays.
So exposing that whole body to the rays.
I hope he went early so he didn't offend anybody. Mattingly with a foul ball.
Oh, you are cruel.
Well, last Friday,
I tell you what,
you and Thorny were zinging me when I was on the West Coast.
We just knew you were eating popcorn. I know you're going to be taking these 3 bags, extra bags home.
Those are yours. To go
really,
with
very nice of you
ate.
to trade games with Gary Thorne last week. Gary moving into a new home up in Portland, Maine. So you went out and did the West Coast game and had to be with the little guy.
Yeah, I was with
You missed
Joe.
the ride to nowhere to the airport.
Oh, really?
You missed the exit at about 100 miles per hour.
Mattingly grounds one to short. Rivera gets him. 2 out in the 9th. And, you know, we almost missed it tonight. We can't get this game get away without letting you know that this copyrighted telecast, of course, is presented by the authority of Major League Baseball. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. So if for 8 2/3 innings you've been planning on doing that, you have to give it up now.
A lot of people can't go to sleep without that little
I know. That announcement
tidbit of information
makes a lot of people's day, you know. Here's Kevin Moss, 0 for 3.
Base hit would make Kevin's day.
Strike 1. He has struck out, lined to second, and flied to right. 2 out, nobody on, bottom of the ninth, and the Red Sox lead it 3-0.
My wife took one look at him and says if he doesn't hit home runs, he can make it in New York modeling. A very good-looking guy.
Well, this may be the next underwear man. We don't know.
I hope he wears underwear.
And I know what brand you hope he wears too. Ooh, man, close. 2 balls and 1 strike. Anderson trying to finish it off for Dana Kicker and pick up his first save since coming to the Red Sox.
Darrell Evans trying to get Kevin Moss to look for different pitches. You know, the first month or so, just fastball after fastball. And after you hit as well as he does, pitchers are going to make adjustments. Easy for Anderson because that's his favorite pitch. There's another slider.
2-2.
I think he goes to sleep with a baseball in his hand with the slider grip.
Well, he's been around a long time and been successful.
Again, it's a late breaking slider, so you don't pick it up out of his hand. And if you're a hitter, you think it's going to be someplace different than where it ends up being.
A lot of Red Sox fans here looking for the final out.
And they get it on the strikeout. Anderson's first will go along with his first save for the Red Sox.
Anderson retires the side in order in the ninth, and the Red Sox now will look at that scoreboard and see what happens in Toronto. They've done what they needed to do, and they need to keep doing it.
Well, and they will. They will go right in the locker room, and they will either get it on the phone or somewhere by the news, go home and maybe watch the second game of the ESPN doubleheader. The score up in between the Toronto Blue Jays is 1-1. So big game for the Red Sox as they win. They get a great performance from Dana Kicker. He wins his 7th.
Greenwell and Burks with home runs. And our final score again, 3-0 Boston as Dana Kicker wins it. He's now 7-9.